And welcome to Coleman on Purpose, the podcast on purpose for a purpose. I am so excited to have you here today for this episode of Coleman on Purpose. I have another special guest here for this summer series of interviews, and I'm so excited to have this guest on. She goes by Ellen once again, and she's out of Dallas, Texas. And so she is here with me today. She is a singer, a songwriter, a music coach, and a worship leader at her church. And if anybody knows me, I love some music. So, Ellen, I want to thank you so much for being on the podcast with me
Of
today.
course, of course. It is an honor. I always talk about this when we see each other online. I feel like you are just like an old dear friend,
Oh my
just through the years. So
Thank you.
thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor.
It's a blessing. Like I'm telling you, like I met her during a time during the right after like the pandemic. Things were just all over the place and things were happening. And I actually knew about her. I actually looked her up before I found her on TikTok. I had to remember it. I looked on Dance Moms. I used to watch Dance Moms, and that's actually where I first heard. I didn't know who she was then, but a song that I loved on there. Oh, we'll get into that later.
Oh,
But there is it's just amazing how people are accessible, more
yeah.
accessible now, and you can really reach out and meet people and get to know people who you never thought you would meet. So it's a blessing to have you on
I love
today.
that too. I completely agree with you.
So we're going to start out with a little shake it all out with an icebreaker. What is something that you do in the morning to get yourself started? What is a morning routine that you just like to do in the morning?
Oh my goodness. Okay. So I am definitely not a morning person, but I have to be a morning person because, like family, kids, I have to get up in the
Yeah.
morning. So music
Yeah.
is still one of those things. I always have like some song on my playlist that's like upbeat, that's happy
Yeah.
to get me in the mood for the morning because, the morning is here. So you gotta embrace it.
Exactly,
So music
exactly,
is
exactly.
playing very loudly in our house in the morning.
I love it. That, but see, that's how you should start your morning. That's how I kind of started this morning. When I got up this morning, it was just like Holy Spirit was like, okay, just do something that is going to change the atmosphere in the house. And I
Yes.
put on music this morning, and it
Yeah,
like
it
that.
gets you there. It does. No matter what you're feeling, because the night before, the day before, it just seems to be like a refresher. It's like, okay, this is a brand new start. I can let go of like all these worries from yesterday, all the anxiousness from yesterday. This is like a brand new start. So music
Yeah.
definitely helps me get to that place to just conquer a new day.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I was telling her right before we got on that music is my thing. Like I said, she is my second like music guest that I've had on here. And every single time I have a music guest, it just excites me because that's part of me. Like if you look over to the side right now, I have like tons of vinyls that I've collected now and everything like
Yes.
that. So it's something that it's something about music that really is inspiring. It's creative. It has everything encompassed with what I am and like to do, dance, all that stuff like that. So tell us a little bit about your upbringing. Like where were you born? What were some of the things that you did just coming up?
I was born here in Texas. I've been in Texas like my whole life. I
Okay,
moved from a
okay,
smaller town in Texas to a little bit, Dallas, DFW area, a little bit
okay,
bigger part of Texas, but it's
okay.
just been my whole life. That's where I was born and raised. My family, just a little bit about my upbringing. My family, my mom loves to sing. I have her in a few of my clips. She's like
Yes,
that belter.
yes, yes, yes.
So she loves. So I think just being around my family, my dad would play the bass sometime. Being around that atmosphere, I just kind of grew a love for music.
Yeah.
And I remember my sisters are a little bit older than me. They played the piano, and they don't really play the piano anymore.
Okay.
But I remember seeing them when I was like a lot younger and too young to play.
Yeah.
I wanted to do that. I just knew automatically, like I want
Yeah.
to do that. I want this right here.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it sticks. Yeah.
And I didn't let it go. I didn't let it go as I got
Wow.
older. It was just like, no, I was trying to make bargains. Like, if you let me take lessons.
Wow. It's amazing because that's how a lot of the things when I talk about it, I'm like, there's a lot of times when we don't realize when we're younger the things that are implanted into us
Oh my
by
goodness.
our
Yes.
parents, and we sometimes carry them, and sometimes we maybe run away from them, but we find our way back to
Yes.
them.
Exactly. It is so true. It is so
Yes.
true.
So in that time with your music, how did it grow? How did your love for the music during that time? How did it even grow? Like when you were in high school and stuff, were there times when you probably wanted to maybe put it down, or was it just something that you did throughout high school, like coming up?
I think when I was younger, I took piano lessons. My music teacher, she was very much, she was a well-rounded music teacher. She was
Oh
amazing.
wow.
And I remember playing classical music. I didn't really like to practice. I was like most kids. I didn't really want to
We don't.
practice.
Right.
But I would practice. She would make me practice. And I would always try to sneak in something that I like made up. And she's like, no, she wouldn't let me do that. She's like, read what's on this page.
Like
And
stick with the page, right?
yeah, stick with the page. And then maybe when I was about 11 or 12, she was like, okay, I'm going to start teaching you some songs, some gospel songs, some hymns, and I'm going to place you at a church who needs a musician. And I really think that was a game changer. I won't say that I
Wow.
always loved it because I was 12 and it was,
Yeah.
yeah, it was a lot. But I think that really got me into playing, chords, got me into kind of a segue into being a singer songwriter because a
Wow.
lot of the chords a lot of the things that I learned from church, even though my music is more like singer songwriter, I use like all of these chords and it's taught me to start learning like theory. Like if I go
Man.
here, or if I go here with this chord and, here's a seventh chord, so it taught me a lot of that experience taught me how to be a singer songwriter, how to
Yes.
sing and play at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So I always, even when I'm live, you hear me talk about that a lot. You hear me talk about like, okay, here's, gospel,
Yeah.
and if you do this right here, then it changes it to this style of music. And I have a lot of fun with that because it's so true. And when I started being a singer songwriter, like in college,
Yeah.
I knew how to sing and play because I was teaching chords when I was playing for my church choir. Or if I was at a small church, it was just the piano. I knew how to do like a walking bass line or how to do different things because that foundation had already been
Been
laid.
built.
Yep, it had already been
Yep.
built. You don't
That's
realize that you're building a foundation for
yeah.
something in the future, but that
Mm.
was the foundation that was being built.
That is wonderful. Like I've been talking about this because I just got out of my Songs of Spring series, which I was highlighting music from like CC Winans, Andre Crouch. I just did another this one coming up that I'm doing because I record this early is Anisha Figueroa Cooper. I'm doing a song that she had from that's called Not Forgotten, and so
Yes.
I was like I've been looking at my journey and how I've listened to music over time, but the chords are something
Yes.
that when you said chords right then in my mind, I'm like, oh my goodness. So, like, what were some of your musical inspirations during that time? Because chords are so powerful, and I think you have. I'm gonna be bragging on you this whole episode, so just know some of your chords are some of the most beautiful melodic. Like they just have something to them that just
Thank
makes you feel like you're in
you.
another place.
Oh,
And but
thank you
that's
so
I
much.
know that's God, but it is
Yes.
it's almost heavenly, and so it's though that's beautiful to me. Like chords have always been something. Minor chords. I think I told you about that. Like
Yes.
minor chords. That's always been my thing. So, what were some of the musical inspirations that got you to the point of playing the way you do or writing the way you do?
Oh my goodness. So I would say I'm going to just start naming artists
Okay.
that I've absolutely loved, no matter what genre they sang. I think the very first artist that I absolutely loved was Aretha because my mom loved Aretha and it was always
Yes.
playing in the house. And I don't know about you, once you hear like Aretha's voice,
Mm-hmm.
it's just like something you're going to remember. Um,
Always.
Whitney, I remember when I
Mm.
was young, seeing Whitney perform. I can't remember what song, but I just remember her singing live.
Yeah.
And of course, I was little and I was like, well, I don't sound like Whitney, but this
Right.
is like, it just touched me in a way that I'm like, this is something I would want to do because
Mm-hmm.
somebody who could tell a story with their voice and with their
Yep.
music and going on. Stevie Wonder. Uh,
Of course. Now that
now you
that
know what era that I grew up in.
oh yeah.
Stevie, his lyrics. Of course, Stevie is an amazing vocalist too, but
Yeah.
the thing that stuck with me about Stevie was the way that he told story. Like if you listen to Overjoyed, and it's like, how is he painting the picture with the chords, and how is he painting the
Yes.
picture with the words? It's
Yes.
like at some point, I'm
Mm.
listening to his voice, but it goes beyond his voice. It is the story that he is telling that I can
Yes.
visualize just from him speaking those words.
You can see it. You can see everything he's singing about. Yeah.
Yes. If
Yeah.
I'm going to go to gospel, I can't leave without talking about Richard Smallwood.
Ooh.
He incorporated that I felt that really incorporated classical with gospel with his total praise. You can hear the classical influence. And I
Yeah.
know he's a classical pianist as well, but you can hear like all of the classical influences in his chord structure into songs like Total Praise, which it's amazing. Andre
Okay.
Crouch. You know, we grew up, I feel like, in some of the best
Yes.
years of gospel where it was like all of these songs that just touched you.
Yeah.
And then as I got to college, I started listening. I'm still a huge fan of Leanne LaHavis.
Oh yeah.
um, I know that I grew up very much in the church, very much with a lot of soulful belting singing. And I know Leanne has
Yeah.
that, but there's a part of her that is very soft, like with her approach in some songs, like No Room for Doubt. She's not belting there, but it's just very melodic and very beautiful. And artists like, here's my last one, Feist. I remember hearing a couple of her songs in commercials. So it's like all of these different artists
Okay.
had a role to play in to the style of music that I am now doing. I mean, it just goes deep. I can't name just one
Wow.
artist.
Wow.
There's more,
That is
but yeah.
incredible. That's incredible. Like that you each person like made some type of impact to get you to where you are and how you can find what type of musician you want to be. You know what I'm saying? In
Yes.
the long run. That's amazing.
Yes. I love that because all of these singers had like a little bit, they brought something different. So a lot of times, even when I'm talking to like other singers online, they're like, well, I don't belt or I don't sound like this. And one thing that taught me is that you don't have to.
I
It's
wish I wish I could have known that before, because like my singing voice, because I was trying to sing like Fred Hammond, sing
yeah.
like Crystal Lewis, like I wore my voice out doing that over time, and
Yes.
and I really hope that I can get back to the point where I can still, because I always felt like I had to belt when I was on stage, theater, and stuff like that. So you
Yeah.
have to project, but there is a there is a way you can control,
Yes. Yes.
this healthy and control it from
Yes.
down. I've learned that now, but I wish I had known that back then.
It took me a while to get that too. And
Yeah.
like you said, I know you mentioned like Out of Eaton and Crystal Lewis. I mean, all
Yes.
of these artists are like, they are part of my childhood and growing up and my
Yes.
story. But, and they also have different singing styles,
Yes.
but that really impacted me to hear, especially as I got older, like,
Yeah.
okay, I don't always have to try to belt the room down. It's just like, okay,
Yes.
I can really try to lean into what makes my voice unique. So.
Most definitely. I love that. So when you're going through just the process, because you write music, you play it, what is the process like doing that? And what do you do? Do you come up with words first, or is it music first? Or how long does it usually take just to put something together if you're working on one of your songs, original works?
You know what? I would say twofold. Most of the time, if I'm intentionally writing a song, it's going to be the music first. I'm just going to be playing on the chord. I'm going to play the chords. And then if I'm playing the chords, I'm going to try to hum a melody. If I like that melody, I record it in my memos. So my memos are like, they take up the most space in my
Hey,
phone.
sometimes that's like thoughts with me. Like
Yep,
thoughts. Okay,
exactly.
let me say this in the mic real quick.
And sometimes it's the other way around. Sometimes I will hear a song and my phone is just like, doo, 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 doo. You know, it's just like all these
Yeah.
little things. I'm like, I don't know what
Wow.
this means, but I'm going to say this for later. And
Okay.
sometimes songs are very quick. You know, I can write a song. Sometimes I go back to those memos and I'm like, okay, it may take me a while because this song is like it's stuck, but I want to get done with it because I love the idea so much. So
Mm.
I'll come back to it. I'll do a little bit more studying on it, like because I want to get this song done and I like where it's going. So sometimes it takes longer, but a lot of times it is coming from me playing chords on the piano and
Yeah.
then finding a melody that I like to go with it.
Okay. So, and I know you write a lot of, to me, very positive and uplifting music. So that is like your thing. Like it's nothing that whenever I listen to music, it's nothing I'm gonna be like, oh, let me go. Like, it's not it's gonna make me, it's
Exactly.
like it's going to hype my spirit. Like it's going to make me happy. It's gonna make me want to be positive. And that's a great thing. What are some of your favorite songs that you've written? Like well, like just name maybe a couple. I like all your songs, but
Oh,
name
thank
one of your
you.
favorites that you've
Um,
written.
you know what? I'm gonna name I do. It's definitely a favorite. It's one of the first ones when I was like early on just writing songs, and
Yes.
I would say
Yes.
that's like one of the favorite ones. It was
Yes. And that's you don't even like have to ask me. She already knows that is my favorite song. Every time I say, "Oh, can you do I do? Oh, can you do I
oh,
do?" Because it's like that's a classic to me. That's like it's a good song. And
thank you
so
so much.
how did you find a way, like when I talk about you being positive a lot of times with your music, how do you find the way to intersect faith, or is it something that you push into your music, or it just comes out naturally? How do you intersect that with your music, your
I
faith?
I think it comes out naturally,
Okay.
just because of my upbringing and what I
Praise.
want to. Everybody does music for different reasons, but for me, I feel like it's what I want to give out to the world. I feel
Yes.
like music is definitely a gift,
Yes.
and I feel like you have to be careful with music. It's like because I'm like, okay, what am I giving with my music? And I know everybody doesn't feel like that, but I feel like it's like a responsibility. What am I putting
Mm.
out there with my music? What am I saying with my music? Because it's one of those things that will affect you. You know, you've listened to a sad song, or and then you start feeling sad, or you're sad and you go and find this sad song.
Yes.
Or are there some things I listen to and it's just like, oh, why do I feel like this?
Heavy. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just like a responsibility, like what am I putting out there? So a lot of my songs do have messages,
Right.
a lot of it is just like my journey, like Survivor. I wrote that song. I had a friend who was diagnosed with cancer, and so that was a song that was like on my heart that I wanted to write. Be Okay was during 2020 when everything like kind of shut down. I was anxious, I didn't know
Mhm.
what was going on. Nobody knew what was going on. And that was just like what I wanted to say during that time was like, okay, even if I'm saying it to myself, like it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's kind of like some songs even encourage myself because I'm like, you know what? I need this right now. I need to feel this way right now. And some
Yeah.
songs I just want to like good vibes. It puts me in a
Yeah.
good mood, so I like good vibes. So
That is, yeah, that's me too. And like, you got to be so careful nowadays, like music, because they'll mix the good vibes in, but then it'll be like, throw something in,
oh,
it'll be
oh
thrown in,
yes,
and you don't know
yes,
where but you like the music. So I am trying to be as more intentional with it because the Lord knows how much I love music. So I
exactly,
listen to a lot of different music, and it's something that
exactly.
I've been sometimes convicted about by some of the things, but He's working it out in me with that. It's just something like chords and everything they draw you to the music, but
It
it can be a
does.
good draw or a
It
bad
does.
or a bad draw like you said. Yeah.
Well, in music, I feel like music definitely has a spiritual aspect to it.
Yeah.
No matter what you believe, music does have a spiritual
Yeah.
aspect to it. It can touch
Yes.
parts of you that other things cannot touch.
Yes.
So it's kind of like when I was younger, I used to be like, I just want to listen to music. I want to do
Yes.
this. And I used to always hear like, be careful what you're feeding yourself.
Yeah.
But the older I get, and even as things come out, like in the news,
Yeah.
you see how much spiritual aspects that music has and how it can be used for,
You were saying.
bad things, but it can also be
Yes.
used to encourage and uplift and to just further good things.
It's
So
beautiful. It's beautiful to see that though, because there are, like I said, there are good influences that do need to be on the scene, and just to
yes.
hear like your song show up here in a space, just here in the world, and just you. The reason probably I was drawn to it because it was God in it. You know what I'm saying? And it's like it's a deep part of it, and so that's amazing. Are there any moments? I know you'll probably know what you'll probably say, but have you had any standout moments in your career that are like unforgettable so far? So
So
far,
I'm going to say the same thing. I have two.
okay.
One was definitely I do.
Yes.
I was just kind of, I feel like now I was just kind of getting started with music. I didn't really have a direction. I'm an independent artist, so everything that I've
Yeah.
done has been independent. And
Okay.
it was really one of the first, after that song aired on the show, which I didn't know it was going to air. It was like the reception that I got from it was just like, like, oh my goodness, I love this song. And to hear other people
Wow.
cover it and
Yeah.
to hear singing. And it really just affected me in a way like, you know what, I can do this. Um, I was not expecting it, so that was
Hmm.
just really a standout moment for me because it was so unexpected, and just to like again see, I think that song has like 1 million streams. I know it's older, but
Yeah.
it was like one of my first songs to get 1 million streams.
That's
So that
beautiful.
means like how many people were listening to this song or playing this song, and it
I got about 10,000 on there. I got about 10,000. No, I'm just no, I'm just playing.
that was
But yeah.
amazing to me. I like again, I didn't have a label. I wasn't
Yeah.
like, doing like a huge marketing campaign for this.
Right.
It was something that was very organically happening that it just really made me solidify that okay, this is something that you can do and
Mm.
that can touch other people.
Yeah.
Um the other I would say was TikTok. Again, these are not platforms that I was just like, I'm gonna get on here and I'm gonna
Right.
do this.
Yeah.
It wasn't that. It was I was playing some venues locally just here, a little bit of traveling, but not much. I have
Mhm.
little ones, so I wasn't
Yeah.
doing too much.
Yeah.
But all of those venues started closing down when the
Mm.
pandemic hit. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm not gonna stop making music. So
Yeah.
at that time, TikTok had a pretty cool music feature that I could still make music and encourage other people to make music too and sing.
Yes.
And it that grew in a way that I wasn't expecting either. And I
Yes.
started seeing new friends that I was making and like friends that who knew my music but they didn't know who I was. So it was
Right.
just like an opportunity just to talk to people and really get to know.
Yes, it was so organic. Like that's and TikTok has gotten, I don't know, but it's fun. I love
Yeah.
TikTok. But it was an organic time where everyone was coming in, and it was just you were drawing like so many people just love to listen to the music and to just comment on it, or you had the
Mhm.
games going. So it's a really fun time on there. If you ever get a chance to watch her on TikTok, it's an amazing time, and
Thank
it'll just brighten your
you.
day. That's basically what it does every single time. Have you been able to find how have you found your purpose? Let me put it that way. How have you found your purpose in singing, writing, and playing music, and what it has been your motivation to continue making music? And I know, yeah, what would you say?
Well, because I've been doing it for a while, there have definitely been times where I felt like, okay, I'm going to quit because it
Yeah,
gets really hard. And it's
yeah,
just like, okay, how do I do this? And there are always things that come along that are bigger than me.
yeah,
I felt like, even some of the messages that I got on TikTok, like this encourages me so much. This song, you're covering this. I needed this song today. I felt like that was bigger than me. Even some of the placements, me just putting my music out there. I think one of the big placements, I was teaching music in schools at this time, and we landed like a national Hershey's commercial. That was like the first time that I really believed, like, this is paying me more than even my
yes.
what I'm doing here.
Right,
Like,
right.
which is not horrible. I love teaching, and I still teach. I have students that
Beautiful.
will always be a part of who I am, just
Wow.
teaching music. But that was like really the first time that I saw like I could really do this like as a career,
Hmm.
um, because everything I'd heard up to that point was that you can't. Like
Wow.
you really can't do this. This is a nice
Wow.
hobby. This is something that you can just do for fun, you know.
Wow.
And it wasn't. I get the sentiment, but it, you know, if I was talking to somebody who was just starting out, I would just say that there is not one way to make music, you
Mhm.
know, because people think that if you're not Beyonce, and I love
Yeah.
Beyonce, don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, but
Yeah.
they think that if you're not making music here, that you can't, like, this is the only way to make music.
And there's
And I'm
not.
like, that is not the only way to make music.
Yes.
There are so many avenues of
Yes.
making music that you could explore, you
Yes.
know. So, that's something I've learned a lot. I've
Yeah.
learned that's something that's motivated me to even the way that the songs touch other people, but also I have people who are coming behind me who
Yeah.
are really wanting to make music, and I
Yeah.
don't want to, squash your gift and be like,
No.
like a lot of people did for me, because I
Hmm.
had to really keep coming back to it and be like,
Wow.
no, this is my purpose. This is what I'm supposed to do,
That
because
confidence. Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
had to.
Yeah.
Even though I had, and the doubts I had were the doubts that other people gave me.
Mm. You up
It's
here
like
preaching now.
from a
My
young
goodness.
age, I knew what I wanted to do, but I
Yeah.
heard so many times that this is not possible, that I had to keep on like coming back to it, because I would be like, I would let my doubts and my fears just take over and be like, I can't do this.
My
And
goodness.
then something would happen. It's like, no, I have to do this.
I heard
this is
that.
this is my purpose. This is what I give to the world. So
I heard that. That is so no, that's so very important when I really like think about it, because I said I always say this on here. Everybody has their own thing. Like as a creative, like you see everybody doing something and you'll be like, oh, they already did that. But you have the unique touch. Like you are the person that only does what you can do.
exactly,
So
exactly.
you gotta still do it even if it's in your mind. And I'm learning that.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And I mean, there's a lot of other things I feel like I could have done or could do. Still, it's not too late. But for some reason, and that was the joke about my name, Ellen, once again, it's like, once again, I am coming back to doing the things that give me life, and I feel like that I am supposed to do.
Oh my! I didn't never knew what the name meant. Oh my! Now you helped me. Like I was like, I never knew. I was like, Ellen. I just remember seeing it when before I even knew your face. Like I just saw the name there, and I was like, that's a unique name. Yeah, that's cool. So you were just saying like, there's other things you wanted to do. Are there any other dreams or goals or aspirations that you want to pursue that are outside of music or anything like that, or just music, the core, and then other things branch from
I
that?
think music is the core and other things branch from that. One thing that I want to do in the future is I have like a lot of younger like kids. I teach voice, I teach
Yeah.
piano, I teach group classes. And one thing when I'm teaching, that learning curve, and
Mhm.
that's just like always the coach teacher in me,
Yes.
is a lot of kids want to give up when they have to start playing with two hands or reading notes, because that's when it starts getting hard
Yeah.
right there. So
Yeah.
I'm working on, for the future, it's just like creating an app, that can help them like with
Mm.
ear training, help them with different tools to help them learn music. Because again, this is just like, not only am I doing music for me, but I'm also
Yes.
doing it for the next generation. And to continue just to write songs. I definitely feel like writing songs is a passion of mine, not only for myself, but for other artists. So just really doing the singer songwriter, but also branching more into the songwriter as well of
Got
the
you.
singer songwriter.
Yes.
So those
Yes.
are two goals that I have for the future.
That is beautiful. I really do like that. Is there anything that you want to make sure is communicated through the music that you share, and what are some of the goals in making that memorable music when you make it?
Oh, some of the goals. You know what? Here's two things. I go from sometimes a technical aspect, because an avenue as an independent artist has always been like the television shows, commercials, different things like that play my music. That is a big avenue for me in writing songs.
Okay.
I'm going to New York. I'm going to film it, and we're going to meet with the publisher, and we're going to talk more about sync licensing and how that has been very crucial as an independent artist.
Yeah.
Because again, how else do I get my music outside of my circle? Again, now
Yeah.
you have like TikTok and some other avenues, but sync licensing has been big. Even for me, finding new artists, I always
Wow.
Shazam. When I hear songs, I'm
Yeah.
Shazamming like, who is this
Everybody,
song? Who
who
is
is
this
this?
artist?
Yeah.
And so a lot of times using my music background to study, like, okay, what aspects are they looking for these shows or commercials or different things like that. That's the technical aspect of it. But what I want to convey in my songs is definitely hope and
Yeah.
definitely purpose and definitely when you listen to my songs, I want it to be something that you take away that can be
Mm.
encouraging for a day, even if it's good vibes and you're getting up in the
Yeah.
morning and you need those good vibes in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah.
But all of my songs, no matter what, I wrote one called "I Need a Sign," and that was one of those times I really wanted to give up because I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
I need a sign right now.
Yeah.
But if that can speak to somebody else who's going through that, to let them know that you're not the only one going through that journey, that part of your life, that this is just a chapter in your book, just like I feel
Yeah.
like that was a chapter in my book. So if it can just encourage somebody else and speak to somebody else, that is the main purpose of my music.
Oh my good. I love hearing the story behind some of the music sometimes. Like just listening to that, like I'll go back and probably listen to I Design now because I'm gonna be probably looking at it a little differently because everybody music translates differently for whoever hears it. Because you can hear
Exactly.
one thing and you'll be like, okay, this is just part of my story, but somebody can hear a totally different thing. That's the interesting part about the music that you write and that we just hear every day. So that's incredible. That's really, really incredible.
You.
So I want to do something if you want to.
Okay.
Like on here, I asked her, I was like, can you do whatever original song you want to do? Just this is the first time ever on my podcast that I have someone that is going to do an original work because she plays the piano and sing. And this, I would love for you to just bless the podcast and let them hear the wonderful songs that
Oh
you
my
have.
goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I love this song. I'm gonna do this song.
Okay.
I don't know if I've had enough time to warm up, so please forgive me if I have
It's
not.
fine. We're here.
Okay. So this song is called "I Do."
Oh, oh my gosh.
It is one of my favorite songs to sing. I knew today we go all the way, and I would hear you say in a heartfelt way. From the first time I saw you, I knew that I'd buy a ring with you, and I love you too. I want to roll next to you. And if you want me to, I'll run away with you. And through the end, I got you. I think I'll marry you. I do. I think I'll marry you. I do.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's forever gonna be on here. I'm just so that like you don't know like these full circle moments that have been happening in my like I could almost cry. Like it's like you don't think like you're sitting down watching the TV one day and you're like, oh, I love this song so much, da da da, da. And you just go because I'm always researching, finding out stuff, and that song. it's just a beautiful song. Like I said, and I
Oh,
had even had a
thank
divorce. So I
you.
was like, I had gone through a divorce, and then you hear this song and you're like, oh my gosh. But it just gives you the hope, like you said, the hope
Oh,
for finding, whatever that is, wherever it's at, but that is the most beautiful thing. And you're like, one day I'll be sitting down here talking to you, interviewing you. And so
oh.
the sky is the limit. I'm telling people, is there anything that you want to say to people that are aspiring to sing or to want to create music, or what advice would you give to people that are really searching for their purpose and whatever they're trying to do? What advice would you give?
Okay, so seriously, that makes my day hearing you speak about it. Because again, I remember seeing you, and I still remembered that. Like when I first saw you, and you were that really made my day. That was just like one of those things that like, oh, this means
That's
like
me.
so much.
Yeah, that's
Um,
me. I do that with any artist. Like I said, I have my handpicked few that
oh,
I'll go all out for because I know how much their music has impacted my life. So you are one of them,
thank
definitely.
you so much.
Yeah.
For anybody who wants to do music, please don't give up. If this is what you're meant to do not give up on it. Keep going. Keep learning your craft. There's one thing that just that whole journey of playing, you've been in church, I've been in church. Some days it's like I love this, and some days it is hard, especially being a musician, and it's not always the easiest thing, but it was one of those things that I had to persevere.
Yeah.
um and I got better at it, I learned it, and then it just impacts like everything that I do. When I'm doing duets on TikTok, when I'm writing songs, it's that part of not giving up even when it's hard.
Yeah.
um Another thing I would tell anybody who wants to go into it, especially if you're independent, and even if you're not independent, start learning, learning the business. If you're taking music in school, also take some like business courses or some marketing courses, because even if you're on a label, there's so much that you have to kind of know and be in control of
Yes.
your own. It's just a big part of it. It's like one of those things like, uh, even the Bible talks about studying and, being prepared.
Yes.
And it's one of those things, even if you're doing something that you love, you still have to kind of know the business, and you have to study, and you have to continue to grow in the musical aspect, but also the business aspect. So
Yeah.
I would definitely tell
Wow.
anybody pursuing music, make sure that you're also learning some business things, even if you don't want to be a singer songwriter. If I want to have my own piano studio or vocal studio, I need to know how to run it, to be
Mm.
successful at it, because
Mm.
you don't want a lack of preparation to kill the gift, or to hinder that gift in any way. It's just
Yes.
like, well, this is not enjoyable anymore because I have all of this stuff coming against me. And you will have some trials and tribulations, but don't let not being prepared be one of them.
Yes, yes, yes. Well rounded. Yeah. Be like know what you're that's very important in anything that you're going into with music, especially. Like
Yeah.
you see the stories all the times of
Yes.
different things happening along the way. And so
Exactly.
that's why I commend you. Like I commend you on like just independence. You know what I'm saying? Being independent and having a handle over knowing that God is at the head of it,
Yes.
but
God
you
is
still
definitely the
have,
head of it.
you're
Yes.
still able to have the freedom to do what you need to do. Yeah.
Yes. And like you said, he's continuing to lead my path. Every time I speak to a lot of musicians online, every time they're like, well, I can't do this because of this. I don't know it yet. Or I've heard like, I'm too old to do this. I'm this. And it's like, nope, you are not in control of this. God is in control of this.
Woo.
You
Hey,
are not.
man.
So all you have to just do your part. It's like I'm still working on music. I'm still writing songs. I'm still
Beautiful.
learning stuff. I'm still working on my business. I'm doing the things that I am supposed to do so that God can continue to open those doors,
Yeah.
and I'll be able to walk through those doors as he opens them.
That's
So
beautiful. That is the part of purpose, and that's why this podcast is here. That's why this platform, like I'm just glad that the Lord put it on my heart. And it's like I keep saying, this was all about my story at first, and it was all about I was trying to keep the Lord. Like God was like, nope, you can't do that because this is how it's going to be. And God
Exactly.
will let you know, and He will nudge that. He won't let anything happen until you start saying, I give it to you. And that's how these interviews, the different things, they just started happening more because I'm giving it to Him finally.
That is, oh my, amen. What a
Yeah.
blessing that is.
Yeah. What this was amazing. Like it really, really was. What are ways that people can listen to your music, and do you have any upcoming shows or projects we can look forward to?
Oh my goodness. So Spotify is a big one. I have music on Spotify, like all the streaming services.
Okay.
Even Bandcamp, some of the other just different streaming services. So
Perfect.
Apple's, Spotify, iTunes, the music is on there as well.
Perfect.
Um, yeah, it's there. We
Perfect.
made sure that it's there. But
Yes.
also, for non-original music, what I mentioned, like doing TikTok, doing duets,
Yeah.
on my lives, we come on and we sing together, and
Yes.
that's just like a highlight. And then for shows coming up, one thing that I'm working on now, I'm hopefully done by the end of June, is
Okay.
I'm working on an EP.
Oh,
And this EP for me has a lot of songs on it that are really just continuing the journey. Some following that same I do, fun,
yes.
but then some are like, I have a song called Drifting, and
Mm,
you're talking about a journey. You're drifting on a
yes.
boat, and you feel like I'm gonna find my way through this, but it's just like I'm drifting. I'm trying
Oh,
to navigate these waters and different things that are coming up, but I'm gonna find my way through this. So I
oh,
I cannot wait to release it.
you know I'm looking forward to it. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. And so on IG and TikTok, you are Ellen once again, correct?
Yes, yes.
All
And
right.
once
So go
again,
find her, catch her when she's on those lives because you'll just be blessed. It's really, really amazing. And I want to thank you so much for coming on and blessing my podcast with your presence. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you
of
so,
course.
so very much. Make sure you guys follow me. I'm at Deluxe Dave on IG and TikTok. You can follow me on either one of those. I also am doing a separate page on IG and TikTok for this podcast, Coleman on Purpose, where it's just exclusive content from what I do on this podcast. Deluxe Dave has a little bit more of the funny stuff and all that, but you can also go to Coleman on Purpose. Please remember, wherever you are on your journey to purpose, each day that you are breathing is another day to freely chase after your God-given purpose. And please remember that you are unique, you are loved, and you are created for greatness. Until next time, thank you so much, Ellen.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me, friend.
Yes, yes.